Let me ask you something. Have you ever given someone almost everything you had to give? Time, energy, patience, even a piece of yourself. And he still left. Or he didn't leave. But you could feel it. His heart wasn't there. That feeling is lonely because you did everything right. You gave everything you had, and it still wasn't enough. The goddess Calypso was like this. She saved Odysseus. She loved him for 7 years. She gave him immortality, the greatest gift a god can give a human. And every morning he walked to the shore, looked toward the other direction, and wept. Today, I'm not on Odysseus's side. I want to talk about Calypso, what was going on in her mind. Here's the story. After the Trojan War, Odysseus began his long journey home. One by one, his crew died, until he was alone, washed up on an island, Ogygia. Calypso lived there, a sea nymph or goddess. The Greek word calypso means to hide, to conceal. She lived in a place no one could find. She found him on the shore, broken, nearly dead. She kept him, gave him food, gave him warmth, gave him company. And then she fell in love with him. She told him, "Stay, be with me, I'll give you immortality. You'll never lose anyone again, never drift again, never fear death, forever." That's the largest promise a god can make to a human. Odysseus stayed. But every morning he walked to the shore, sat there, looked at the sea, and cried. Calypso saw all of it, every single time. I want to pause here. Calypso did everything she could. She saved him, she loved him, she gave him eternity. But she never asked, "Hey, what do you want?" Those 4 words, the most critical gap in the entire story. She gave the biggest thing she had, but no one ever asked Odysseus if immortality was what he wanted. In his heart, home was the only thing. There's a precise term in psychology for this, caretaking as control. It doesn't mean the giver is intentionally trying to control someone. Most of the time, they don't even realize they're doing it. Here's how it works. A person equates how much I've given you with "you should stay." I gave you all this, so you have no reason to leave. I gave you all this, so you owe me staying. This isn't love, or it is love, but it's a kind of love that uses giving to build a wall around someone. You can't say this, you can't do that. You should feel guilty for wanting more. All of it, quietly living in the giver's mind or beneath it. Calypso may never have realized that's what she was doing, but everything she gave, food, warmth, eternity, was saying the same sentence. You have everything here. Why would you still want to leave? And Odysseus couldn't answer that question, because what he wanted wasn't having everything. What he wanted was a place that belonged to him, a person, an identity, a kind of peace inside. Those 2 things are not the same. I want you inside Calypso's mind for a moment. If she could speak honestly, those 7 years might sound like, "When I found him on the shore, he had nothing left. I kept him because if I didn't, he'd die. And then I fell in love with him. I gave him everything I had, including immortality, the biggest thing I could give a mortal. But every morning, he walks to the shore, looks toward that direction. What did I do wrong? Where am I not enough? What else can I give him? If even eternity couldn't make him stay. Then what he wants is something I simply cannot give. That is Calypso's real dilemma. It's not that she didn't love enough. It's not that she was cruel. It's that she gave what she believed was the best thing, but what he needed was something she could never provide. That gap cannot be closed by trying harder. This isn't only a myth. Have you ever been in a relationship, romantic or with a parent or a friend, where you were the one who gave the most? You gave time, you gave resources, you rearranged your life around them. And one day, they said they wanted to leave, or their heart already had. What was your first reaction? For a lot of people, it's, I did all this for you, why are you still leaving? Notice the structure of that sentence. It doesn't ask, what do you need? It says, I gave you this much, so you owe me a certain outcome. Those two things are very far apart. Here's another version. Parents who plan everything for their child, good school, good career, good life. And the child says, I want to walk a different path. The parents say, we sacrificed so much for you. How could you do this? The sacrifice was real. The giving was real. But the plan never once asked the child, hey, what kind of life do you actually want? Calypso never asked Odysseus. Sometimes we never ask the people we take care of either. Not because we're bad, because we believe giving enough is the same as loving enough. But giving and asking are two very different things. Here's something that might sit wrong with you. You assume the person who gives the most is selfless. Not always. Sometimes giving is a way to say you owe me without ever saying it out loud. Sometimes giving is the gentlest lock that keeps someone from leaving. This kind of restriction isn't usually intentional. It can come from a place that's entirely love, but the effect is making it very hard for the other person to say, I want something different. Because you gave so much, enough to drown them in it, how could they even speak up? Calypso trapped Odysseus in a place where saying, I want to go home, would feel like hurting her. That is not freedom. Even with eternity inside it, it can feel like a kind of death. In the end, Homer gives this story a small ending. Zeus sent the messenger Hermes to tell Calypso, let him go. Calypso was furious. She said, why is it fine for male gods to love mortal women and no one objects? But I, a goddess, fall in love with a man and you come to take him from me. That line speaks to unfairness. But there's something else in it too. She had never once considered that letting him go was a choice she was allowed to make. In her logic, love meant keeping, not because she was cruel, but because she had never learned. Real love sometimes means letting someone go to where they're meant to be. In the end, she let him go. She helped him build a raft, gave him provisions, and watched Odysseus sail away. Homer never says what happened to her after. She simply disappears from the story. I keep wondering, after she watched him leave, walked back into her cave, sat down, what was she thinking in that moment? Maybe nothing at all. Maybe, for the first time, she understood what it actually means to give. Let me ask you, have you ever loved someone, given almost everything you had, but never once asked what they actually needed? And one more thing, have you ever, in some relationship, used your own giving to make it hard for someone to say, I want something different? This isn't about blaming yourself. It's just sometimes love needs one very hard question to ask. Hey, what do you want? because the world isn't what you think it is. Wu Talks World, see you next time. Full script.